Okay, then our last one, right, is acid and alkali. Okay, so over here, write down AaSH. Okay, acid plus alkali gives you salt and water. Okay, so these three are our main three acid reactions. Okay, mesh, cash, ash. All right. So once again, the H here is for water. Okay, so acids, they react with alkalis or bases to produce salt and water, and then when you have excess acid, your resulting solution, right, will be acidic, meaning that the pH is less than 7. Right, do you all know what excess means? Extra, correct. Okay, so excess means I have extra. So does it make sense? Like when I have extra acid, then this thing will be acidic. When I have extra alkali, it will be more alkaline. Makes sense, right? Okay, but if I have just nice the perfect amount of acid and alkali, the resulting solution will be neutral, pH 7. Okay, and this reaction is what we call neutralization. Okay, neutralization is specifically for acid and alkali. Okay, so the previous two reactions don't have a special name. This one have. Okay, neutralization is acid plus alkali, gives you salt and water. All right, so how to test for pH? We can use pH indicators, okay, such as universal indicator. We have this machine, this device called a pH meter. We can use litmus paper, a lot of different kinds of ways to test for pH. Okay, and we look at our examples. Hydrochloric acid plus magnesium hydroxide gives you magnesium chloride and water. All right, which is the metal? Remember, all of our salts are named the same way, right? Which one is the metal? Magnesium is the metal. Okay, magnesium comes from magnesium hydroxide. Then chloride comes from Vivi? Second. Hydrochloric acid. Okay, then below sulfuric acid plus calcium hydroxide gives you calcium sulfate and water. Which one is the metal? Calcium. Okay, calcium is here. Sulfate comes from sulfuric acid. Okay, now I am going to give your nitric acid plus a sodium hydroxide. Okay, tell me what products I will get here. What are the products that I will get? Look at the pattern. Look at the pattern here. Look at the pattern in the previous two kinds of reactions. There is a very similar pattern. First of all, right, alkali plus acid gives you what products? Alkali plus acid gives Vivi? I add an acid and an alkali together. What products will I get? Salt and water. Okay, so over here, water, the chemical formula doesn't change, right? So water is always produced when I add acid and alkali. I can just write it first. Okay, I can write water. Then now, I need to figure out what my salt is called. Okay, look at my reactants. What do you think my salt will be called? The first part is always from, or it's always a name of the metal. Okay, over here, where is the metal? Sodium. Okay, so I know it's sodium something. Then, what's the second part? Where does it come from? Water? Water is one of the products. Over here don't have water. The second part of the salt name comes from, where's the chloride? Hydroxide is, sodium hydroxide is the alkali. Okay, just like magnesium hydroxide, so just like calcium hydroxide. Okay, now over here, remember that our chloride, sulfate, whatever comes from the type of acid that you use. Over here, I'm using nitric acid, not hydrochloric acid, not sulfuric acid. Okay, so let me color code this. Sodium is from here, right? Then the second part of the salt name should come from nitric acid, right? So what would that word be? Nitrate. Good. Oh, kena Z. Let me change computer. Okay, sodium nitrate. Okay, and this nitrate comes from nitric acid. Okay, anyway, a bit later on we will have more practice for this kind of word equation writing. Okay, you all need to know how to name the salts. Okay, so remember your mesh, cash, ash. Mesh stands for all of the AAA is acid. Metal plus acid. The S, right, all of them have salt and hydrogen. Metal plus acid gives you salt and hydrogen. What about cash? Cash C. Vivi? Other than metal reacting with acids, we also have, what starts with C? Carbonate. Carbonate plus acid gives carbonate plus acid gives you what? What? Salt, water, carbon dioxide. Okay, then lastly, our ash, AaSH. What is the first A? Acid. Second one? Alkali gives salt, water. Okay, so you notice all your mesh, cash, ash, all got salt inside, all got acid inside. Okay, the rest then you all will have to remember lah. Okay, so recap once again, this one very, very important. Metal plus acid gives you salt and hydrogen. Carbonate acid, salt, water, carbon dioxide. Alkali acid, salt and water. Okay, so out of these three types of reactions, right, which one will not have effervescence? No effervescence, which one? Ash don't have effervescence. How you know? What is effervescence? Effervescence, not just carbon dioxide. Effervescence means that there is a gas produced. Right, in our first one here, the gas is metal plus acid. What gas do you get? Hydrogen gas. This is effervescence. The second one, carbonate plus acid, the gas is carbon dioxide, correct. So only acid plus alkali don't have any gas. Okay, so you may not see anything happening. That doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Okay? It's just that it's not so obvious to us whether there's a new product form or not, but by right we know that there should be lah. Okay? So if you want, you can go and like measure the temperature, or you can go and see whether there's any smell. There shouldn't be smell, but maybe. Right? And then yeah, our 5 different pieces of evidence for chemical change. Okay?